on Coomber Radio, episode number 169. There's a little bit of a strange energy in the room because me and Rachel recorded a podcast and then we're now recording another one because we're being time efficient, we're on it. But in between that, we had quite a kind of deep heart to heart, and we were talking a lot about like our own stuff and what we're doing and what our plans are for next year and stuff. And it almost, Rachel, I feel like I'm trying to pucker up the podcast energy.
I know, because yeah, that was quite deep and meaningful, wasn't it? But that's okay. We can put that to one side, and we can put on our Joker faces again and be the comedians that we usually are for this last podcast.
But talking of deep and meaningful, I hope people, talking back to the podcast that we've just done, 168, which is the one that you last listened to, how many people did get a little bit deep and meaningful with themselves and actually get reflective on this stuff that I've asked them to, because, we're at a point now with the podcast, like me and Rachel were talking about where I'm next going to take this podcast and the kind of content that I want to give out, because we've talked a lot about nutrition, we've talked a lot about training, we've talked a lot about mindset, and there's so much that people know, but if they haven't got to where they're going or they don't have a really good plan, now there's a couple of things. You've either got emotional roadblocks in your way, you're not getting critical enough and finding out the avenues that you need to take and the tools that you need to get there, or that you're self-sabotaging or other people are sabotaging it, or it's just not quite your time yet and you're not quite in the environment. But, off air, something that Rachel was talking about is when we ask for questions about stuff that we want to discuss, or people want us to discuss, on the podcast, Rachel quite often, especially in her forum, gets questions so often that we've already talked about on the show. And we have to sit here and ask ourselves, are we doing a bad job? Are we not talking about the stuff? No, we have talked about the stuff. Have we talked about it in the right way? And there's just so much of it that our people genuinely, legitimately, on every level, being critical and honest with where they're trying to take themselves.
I will be brutally honest here, and here's the original coach in me coming out. Right, so I'll be really fucking honest. Most people don't work hard enough. And, this is contradictory to, podcasts that we recorded, I don't know whether it was last week or the week before or even a month ago, where, we said that we were saying to people, you should give yourself a break and learn to love yourself. Yes, you should. But when it comes to things like this, if you are stuck in a plateau, you need to get really clear. Are you working too hard? Are you stressed? Are you trying to do too much in the gym? Or is it that there's little things sneaking into your diet here and there? The last podcast that we recorded, I was talking about how amazing it is dipping biscuits into tea, and it's something that I haven't done for a long time. Do you eat biscuits with your tea every day? Because if so, that equates to a fair amount of calories. I was looking at those rich tea biscuits and, the digestive biscuits. They've got nearly 20 grams of carbohydrates in per biscuit. I could smash a whole packet of those if I wanted to. So I knowingly consumed 40 grams of carbs in just those two biscuits. So are you doing these things on a daily basis, and you actually being mindful when you're doing these things? Because I suspect that quite a lot of people have these odd things just randomly float into their diet now and again, which then happens to become sort of now and again every morning and now and again every afternoon. And this is where you have to get really, really honest with yourself. And, off air, Ben and I were talking as well, obviously we both run seminars. I haven't done many seminars towards the latter half of last year. I will start doing more seminars next year. But I'll be honest with you, I'm really torn in terms of, what content to bring out during seminars, because there's only so much nutrition stuff that we can keep talking about without reinventing the wheel. And I really feel sometimes the stuff that I do with nutrition is so simple that people are going to come to my seminars and leave disappointed because I didn't teach them the new, the latest, the fanciest thing. And quite frankly, that on a certain level does still really bother me. And it bothers me the fact that people are still searching for that magic pill, when in fact what really works is the dead simple stuff that you've probably read on one of my free blogs. but you still haven't implemented it. You're still looking and searching for that magic pill. And, that latest thing, whether it be intermittent fasting, whether it be carb backloading, whether it be all of these things, the latest and greatest. Well, guess what? That doesn't always fucking work. What works is the basic, simple stuff. And I'm sorry to disappoint you, but that's what you actually have to do. And as boring as it is, and as boring as it sounds, just try that shit, and I can guarantee you 9 times out of 10 it's going to work.
There is a really simple solution sometimes for not achieving your goals, and I shit you not, it is hard work. There's not many things that you can't solve with hard work. And I know it's like a real simple solution, but it is a really simple solution. And sometimes when you're not in a position to work smarter, which is what so many coaches will tell you to do, work smarter. When you don't have the ability to do that, you've just got to work hard. And then over time, as you make your mistakes, you have the ability to work smarter. But that doesn't mean you work less. You only work less when the journey's been done, and the journey has to reconfigure itself, and you maybe go on maintenance mode with whatever it is. But, I remember when I was building my physique, I remember when I was building Body Type Nutrition as a company, all these things, it wasn't down to any magic source. It wasn't down to this special ability to do something, or, Facebook or something. It was down to hard work. Like, I was doing it for 16 hours a day. I woke up, I did it, I went to bed, I woke up, I repeated, I did it again. And that was with my body, with my health, with, building BTN and everything that we do. So much of it is hard work. And if you are sitting there thinking, well, it's not happening for me, and you're thinking that while catching up on Game of Thrones, well, sorry, reality check, it's a hard work time. Like, go back upstairs, go back to the gym, go back to the kitchen. Like, and I'm a very compassionate guy, and I've talked an awful lot about strategies and about balance, but sometimes we've got to reverse that and get real, as Rachel said, and actually it is just about hard work.
And, you talk about Game of Thrones, the amount of times where, I've consulted with people and, they say, well, I haven't got time for it. And then randomly, to completely off topic, and I usually trick them, and I do it sort of 5-10 minutes later, I'll ask something to do with, if I'm with girls, something probably to do with the Kardashians. And they are the first to tell me exactly what's happening in fucking Kardashian world. And I think, oh, that's very interesting, because you've got time to follow all of these people on Instagram and scroll through there for hours and hours a day and watch them on TV. But you don't have time to, prepare your food, and you don't have time, that extra 15 minutes in the morning where you can actually do a quick home workout. So it's all about priorities, really. Everyone's in a different place and time, and I guess, you can't be upset with the results that you didn't get with the work that you didn't do.
Precisely. Like, I know an awful lot about nutrition, health and performance, and I know that I need my sleep, I know that I need to eat good food, I know loads of stuff. And right now, in the lead up till Christmas, I'm actually having to work really hard, a lot harder than I want to, but I've set myself a plan. We're building for 2016. We've got a huge project coming together. I've just invested in lots of stuff. I've invested in new people. I'm having to train them up. We're having to do loads of stuff behind the scenes so I can build for the future. And I work very smartly. Like, I'm very organised, but it's not the solution at the moment. I just need to work hard. And I'm working an awful lot at the moment, 60, 70 hours a week. But I know that on the back end of it, I'll have reached it, and we can go a bit more on cruise mode, and I can enjoy it a bit more. That's not to say I'm not enjoying it. There are bits of things that I'm doing at the moment that I don't wholly enjoy. But it's just a case of hard work. I know that has to get done, and the only way to do that is through hard work.
100%. Like I said on the last podcast, I've usually kind of broken up for Christmas by now, and I am rewriting, revamping, and redesigning the Athletic Fox Blueprint, which is my membership site. So it's going to be even simpler, even better, deliver even better results. And it's a lot of hard work that goes on behind it. A lot of hard work. And I think that sometimes that goes a little bit unnoticed, when you have a very simple site. And it's simple for a reason. It's because there's a lot of hard work that's gone on behind the scenes to make it so simple. Anyway, We can get festive. When is this podcast coming out? Is this before or after Christmas?
This podcast is actually going to go out on Christmas Eve.
Oh, I should have worn my Christmas hat like I did last year.
We're not on video, though, because our internet connection is too shite.
Oh, I know, it's rubbish, isn't it? Good old Virgin Broadband, who's supposed to be the best of the best in my area. Anyway, should we answer some questions?
We can, yeah. We should be more festive on Christmas Eve. And what I will say is, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas! Enjoy your Christmas turkey and everything else that goes with it.
Don't forget to put in some hard work. Ho, ho, ho.
Really, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Make sure you get up and train and, Christmas morning and all that stuff. No, I'm kidding. For everyone who thinks I'm serious. I actually do train on Christmas morning. Just on a side note here, whilst I've gone down this path, I do train on Christmas morning. It's become a bit of a tradition in the Guy family household where myself and my brothers, when we were living in Wales, we had a gym at home because my dad is also a gym bunny, and so he had a gym belt. And so me and my brothers used to go down there. We used to wear our Christmas hats, and of course it was shirts off training. So my brother Rick would go down early in the morning, crank up the heating in the gym, so it would be sweltering hot in there. And then my little brother Alex as well. So my brothers' names are Rick and Alex, but they're nicknamed Flea and Junior. Now it's ironic because Flea is now 6'3", and Junior, who's Rick, is 6'1". So they're not quite little Fleas and little Juniors anymore, but the names are still stuck. So we go in, we do our party pump on Christmas morning, and then we'll have a big breakfast, open our presents, and then have a massive feast for Christmas lunch. And since my family's moved to Dubai, we still do the same thing, but we go to we usually stay in a hotel over there over the Christmas periods and do the same thing. So it's very cool. So I'm very much looking forward to my Christmas party pump this year.
Nice.
Alrighty. Now we can answer some questions. Now I've gone down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So this question is from Taryn. Hi Ben. Stalker vibes here, so proceed with caution, LOL. But I feel what I have to say to you is important. I have to say that I've really enjoyed the journey that you've brought me through on Ben Coomber Radio. I'm nearly now caught up, and I've especially loved the new angle that you found with regards to mindset and psychology. You, along with your lovely co-host, the creative, food-loving Anna, and the beautiful, self-confident, powerful woman that is Rachel Guy, are true inspirations. And the phenomenal guests that you've had on the show have been fucking insanely fantastic. I loved everything that I've learned, even about rugby, and who'd have thought that... Who'd have think that even me, Taryn, could ever learn anything about a sport, about being asthmatic, the lazy one in PE at school. You are all the true inspiration and a very important voice in the confusion in the media that drums up about nutrition, health, and exercise. I'm very excited to come and learn how to be an awesome nutrition ninja who learns to fuse science with taste to really enjoy food more, especially the real kind that consists of carbs, fat, protein, and everything else in between, and that's just fucking awesome. I hope that I can also help other people to understand these things better one day, so that they can also enjoy food and life with no guilt, shame, or negativity, which all stems from the constant battle against immediate gratification in response to our tough modern world. I really believe that everyone in the fitness industry has an amazing opportunity to improve a lot of people's lives for the better, which you're doing. Keep up the good work, man. You're doing your listeners an awesome service. A lot of what you say doesn't fall on deaf ears, so don't worry about all of that. I'm listening to Ben Coomber Radio, and I'm going to be a qualified PT by the end of 2015. I look forward to learning about personal training with Kane Latham at GB Fitness, who you mentioned in passing on recommendation from Heather Wynn, if I can remember correctly. You've really inspired me to pursue what I feel is a true calling in life. For that, I'm eternally grateful and I will move forward in my life with a new sense of purpose. So yeah, thanks, man, and keep up the good work. Oh, and from one nutrition geek to another, I would love to say hi to you and might have a quick chat with you next time at one of your seminars that you hold that I will attend in the future. I might ask that I might ask what you've had to eat because I'm a full-on food nerd. I'm sure my partner, who is a fantastic chef, can make it taste even better with his knowledge and experience of seasoning and spices through his 10 plus years as a chef. Food is awesome. Anyway, have a nice day, Taryn.
So I included that, one, because it was a nice little story, so thank you very much, Taryn. I like to think we're doing good things here, but also there was something that really hit with me in halfway through that, in that Taryn said, I really believe that everyone in the fitness industry has an amazing opportunity to improve a lot of people's lives for the better. Mm-hmm. And I suppose one of my purposes in 2016, or where I feel I'm currently at with my role and myself in the fitness industry, is that I have a social responsibility to change the thought process in terms of nutrition. So my big project that's coming in 2016, which I'm still not ready to talk about, will change an area of the fitness industry and how honest we are about what we promote and how things are sold and what people do in this environment. So one thing I currently pride myself on the nutrition side of the industry is that our coaching and education framework through Body Type Nutrition and through the Academy, we're trying to be the voice of reason in nutrition. Like, if people don't know what to think about carbs, for example, I want them to think, I'm going to go to Body Type Nutrition and find out. I'm going to check their blog to see if they've written about it, to find what is actually the truth, the science, the facts. And I believe that everyone now has a chance in the fitness industry, and this is what I want to happen in 2016, to make the difference that the fitness industry should actually be making. Not bickering, not bitching, not dick swinging, not trying to invent something so mad that it sells, but to actually look at what we're trying to do, which should actually be to make people healthy, try and reverse degenerative diseases of lifestyle, obesity, all this kind of stuff. This is what the fitness industry was actually invented for. This was our purpose, to kind of focus on these social problems around food and nutrition and training and mindset. But especially what I see online, there's still so much dick swinging between people about trying to prove a point and trying to invent something that doesn't need to be invented. And I'm part of that problem in the past, and it's something that I'm going to talk about in the future on the podcast, on a solo show. But it's almost like my dream for 2016, is that people get on board with what the fitness industry should be and stop messing around in the fitness industry that's been fabricated by the bullshit of the kind of online space and the freedom of speech in the online world.
Oh, don't even get me started about dick swinging. Seriously.
Well, I've started.
Probably just as well I don't have a dick, because there are times where I really have to restrain myself from swinging my big dick. But Merry Christmas. No, I'm exactly like you. Like, I get really frustrated. When people sort of, and all it is just, it's ego comparing ego, and ego fighting with ego. To be honest, a lot of people ask me what I think of certain things and certain practitioners and certain trainers. I've got no idea what they're doing. I just, I don't even scroll on Facebook much. I just, I go on Facebook, I do my thing, and then I get off it. I really have no interest in what other people are doing. And if something is highlighted to me, and I don't think that it's particularly useful, all my usual response is, oh, that's very interesting. That's it. I've got no interest in getting involved in that sort of thing. So, dick measuring contests are just completely redundant.
Yeah, the fitness industry, I think, has a lot to answer for with where it is right now. We can't complain at things. It's like years ago I used to complain about the level of education in the fitness industry. I thought the level of nutrition education was bad, what they were teaching, what we were being recommended. I had two decisions. I either continue to moan about it or do something about it. And I decided to do something about it. I developed the BTN Academy. I think we're doing amazing things. The fitness industry right now has still got too much dick swinging, and it fixes itself by one person doing something, then the next person doing something, and more people being the voice of reason for what the consumer actually needs to hear to help change their lives, because that's ultimately why we're here. We're here to change lives, fix people's health, and get them on the right path so that long term they can manage all this stuff themselves.
Just interesting to know, I actually got called a sexist pig on YouTube the other day, which I thought was quite funny.
Wow, classy.
I know. But that's another story for another day. It's quite a good one, though. Okay, I've got another question here. So this question is from Sophie. Hi, Ben and Rachel. I'm writing this after listening to your podcast number 154. Are you happy? After thinking about writing to you for a number of times, I finally decided to do so. I'm a personal trainer who is relatively new to the industry, 2 years. However, I have completed quite an extensive education prior to and alongside my career. Training is very important to me, and it has helped me get through a number of mental health issues, depression, anxiety, and a previous eating disorder I've had over the past few years. I'm gradually becoming more open about these issues, and I've recently begun therapy again. Your podcast 154 has mentioned, which I mentioned, reinforced the fact that I was doing the right thing and I should be proud of each step that I have taken. However, I was wondering whether you feel it is something that personal trainers should be open about with their clients if necessary. I feel as though I try to hide this part of my life from my clients, as I worry it will affect their opinion of me to be able to help them. Although, if anything, I feel it would help me understand I feel it would help me understand the battles that everybody goes through. I do not at all try to make my clients believe that I'm perfect, but I'm unsure whether revealing this to them would be a step too far, and I believe that this is holding me back. I am also a big promoter of using exercise as a means of improving mental health. However, I see myself as a contradiction in this. For a number of years, I used my active lifestyle as a means for therapy for myself. However, recently, this hasn't been effective enough, and I've been on antidepressants for the past few months, which I feel has given me the ability to continue my training and maintain my enthusiasm and focus, which I'm able to apply during sessions before my mental health deteriorated further. My main questions are, should we be more honest with our clients, or do you believe someone currently suffering from mental health issues should avoid such a career despite being extremely passionate and well educated within the field? I was also wondering if you could advise of anyone in the south of England who specialises in coaching individuals through such situations involving not only the physical aspects but the psychological aspects too. Sorry I waffled a bit too much. There's a lot to say to fit into a small and to the point question. Thanks for reading this and for giving such amazing advice on all the podcasts, Sophie.
Wow, well, what a story. And exercise is, incredibly powerful. And we know that, exercise, if I don't get any for a couple of days, I get really aggy and, I just want to exercise, I just want to move. And it releases so much for us. Now, to quickly answer your first question, do I recommend anyone in the south of England that can look at mindset? Our new BTN coach, Mr. Stephen Aish, is in the south of England. He's in the Cambridgeshire area. He's amazing at the physical and the mental side of this, so you can contact him. Otherwise, if that's not close enough for you, you can't travel to him, it would be well worth the travel. Then maybe get in touch and I can look to refer you on to someone else. So just let me kind of know where you are. The south of England is quite a big place. I'm very much interested to hear Rachel's opinion on this, but, over the last couple of months on the podcast, I've been very open to you guys. And I believe I need to do this to help you realise that there's things that happen in everyone's lives and it is just normal. We don't have to shy away from our own problems, and we don't have to live this perfect life that everyone portrays on social media, which is just horse shit. it is okay to be vulnerable and to show people that you have these kind of issues. But if there's something that's quite major, then I don't feel that everything has to be aired in public. Like, for example, if I went through a period of, depression, for example, and it was really affecting me, I would actually, it's probably something that I would not talk about when it was actively happening, because I wouldn't be my normal self. Like, for example, 2 or 3 months down the line, I might discuss it on the podcast with you and tell you how I went through it. Like, when I was actively going through therapy, I didn't really talk about it till I was kind of in it a bit, and I knew what was happening and why it was happening and the process. Because I don't really know how it's going to affect things, and I don't know how people are going to kind of think of me. And also, I need to take time out to actually get that straight in my head. I need to invest time in that to make sure it doesn't really come across in any negative way. Like, if you're coaching clients, there is only so much that you want to share with them. Some stuff needs to be for you, but day-to-day stuff, like if you think, for example, if you have days where you wake up and you feel like you're having a fat day, like, your clients want to hear that because that makes you feel normal. Like, trainers don't wake up every day and like, oh, I feel amazing every day. I have energy 100% of the time. It doesn't happen to people. So don't portray that as a trainer, because your clients won't believe in you as a person, as a real person.
I think, just to add to that, I think you have to establish why you would tell somebody these things. And I think that as a general piece of advice here is that if you're going to disclose something like that, if you've had an eating disorder in the past, I would certainly make sure that you have a very, very solid grip on it before you disclose it to anybody else. And you would do it with the intention of sharing your lessons learned. So when you've been through therapy and you're coming out the other side, and perhaps you're seeing traits in clients, which, kind of remind you of what you went through. And you can see that your client is struggling to come to terms with a certain thing, or to start, struggling to see a certain aspect. You could potentially share it then, but make sure that the intention is right. So, because a lot of people, I've noticed this a lot, actually. So I'm all for vulnerability. I think it's, but it has its time and its place, and it must be done in a safe place and a safe time. And, if you're going to talk about depression and anxiety, well, that's great. That's very brave and honourable for you to own up to that. But make sure that you are doing it with the intention of educating and helping somebody else through your lessons learned. And you're not doing it to basically seek sympathy. And I'm not saying that that's the case at all with Sophie, but I'm just saying that as a general, as a general statement. What's the intention behind the share?
I think that's actually, very, very important, because if you don't have a full handle, a full perspective on the actual process, you're still in that process of change.
Yeah. And
when you're in that process of change, you're not in an educated position. You're actually in an uneasy and a very uneducated position. But because, like, for example, with my therapy stuff, I wasn't talking about something really major, and actually I wanted to share the process with you in terms of how I felt during the process, and it wasn't, any, bad, shocking home truths. But, with an eating disorder, if you're going through it, you're still actually unstable, and you're going to impart some of the habits that you have, both positive and negative, to clients, and they will feel that is normal depending on how you portray it. So I think with stuff like that, you have to know that you can give the bad side of it and show the kind of rehab and progression side of it. Otherwise, your client thinks, well, that's kind of normal to think and do those kind of things, when sometimes it might not be. Yeah,
absolutely. Don't really have anything further to add on that. It's, it's the intention behind the share, really.
100%. Let's wrap up with this last question.
Okay. This last question is from Lindsay. Hi Ben, I've written to the show before and I'm absolutely thrilled to have my question answered by you and Rachel. So thank you so much for your help. Today I'm coming at you from the perspective of a fellow nutrition coach. I'm fairly new to the industry, but I've been very fortunate to have worked with a handful of clients with some great success stories. However, one of my clients has stumped me. My client is a 40-year-old female. She's 5'10" and 226 pounds. When she first came to me, she presented to me with a long history of yo-yo diets and ridiculous fads that she tried over the past 15 years. As with many of these programs, she would normally lose weight initially, then immediately gain it back after returning to her normal way of life. None of these plans were sustainable, and it was a classic case of someone feeling desperate and looking for a quick fix. Before she began with me, she was eating an average of 1,000 calories a day with an imbalance of macronutrients. She's a vegetarian. Her protein intake was extremely low. In addition to upping her protein intake and balancing out her carbs and her fats, I got her up to 1,500 calories a day, and this would still suggest that it's too low for somebody of her size. However, slow and steady wins the race. I was hoping to bring her up further in calories as the weeks went on. She has faced a number of challenges. Being a vegetarian and getting in all of her protein has been a struggle. Although this is now improved with the help of protein powder, lots of eggs and egg whites. Being conditioned to eat so little for so long, she still has a problem hitting her daily recommended calories, and sometimes finds both her fats and her carbs to be too low. She does, however, have a good grasp on high quality foods, and what she does eat is a great start. Although she has had a fat loss of about 5 inches in 2 months, the scale has not budged and the inches have started to plateau. Looking back, I wish I'd increased her calories more slowly to 80 to 100 calories a week as you recommend. However, I would have thought we'd have seen some more scale movement by this point. The inches lost are definitely a win, and she reports having more energy, which is amazing. Her cycle has also reappeared for the past 2 months, which for the first time is consistent in the past 10 years. So I do think we are seeing some healing happening. She's currently waiting on some blood work results to come back, which might give us some insight onto her thyroid function as well as cortisol levels. However, I still feel at a loss. I believe that she is definitely struggling with a metabolic downregulation. And so where do I take this client next? Do I bring her calories back down and then slowly try to increase them? She doesn't do any weight training, and I'm not convinced this is something that she will easily introduce into her life. She does, however, complete circuit training in her home gym, which includes time on the treadmill and some bodyweight exercises. I would, of course, love to see her weight training, but can we still help her and find some success without it? Any insights that you might have would be appreciated. Thank you for your valued thoughts and opinions.
So this is a little bit interesting, and part of me thinks there's almost some facts missing or something, but so I'm going to assume that this client is still 226 pounds or a little bit less, because apparently she's lost 5 inches in 2 months. Now, 226 pounds is huge. That's over 100 kilo for a woman that's 5'10". That is a lot of weight. Now, if she'd been eating 1,000 calories for a long period of time, I'll be honest, wherever her thyroid function is, she's going to have lost weight. That's quite starvation type stuff for someone that has 100 kilograms of mass. You don't get that big without eating a lot of stuff. You've got to have some serious metabolic issues, and I can't see how someone that big on such low calories has not lost some weight. Also, Lindsay, I just want to check that your kind of understanding of various things is on point as well. You say she doesn't do weight training, except she does circuit training with her body weight. Now, for someone that's 100 kilos, that is weight training. That's a lot of weight to move around. If I got a 100 kilo person and got them to do a press up, that's a pretty demanding press up. If I got them to do a body weight squat, that's a 100 kilo squat. Actually, that is quite considerable weight training, and actually I'd be very happy with that. I don't even think that's even remotely close to the problem. I think someone with a treadmill at home doing some bodyweight exercises can get into fantastic shape, really good shape, as long as you change things up, you're activating muscles well, you're moving, you're working up a sweat. So I'm a part of a loss. I think part of me wants to say that potentially your client is not actually on the calorie intake that they are on, and they're actually potentially misreporting, that there is some maybe behind the scenes closed door eating, there's some binging going on, and that stuff isn't reported, that isn't told. There's a bit of an emotional background here as to why this individual might be eating in a certain way. You know, emotional binge eating in females that are quite, that is significant. It is a lot bigger of a problem than we think. A lot of people literally medicate their emotions with food. And the chances are they're not going to tell their trainer if they're not in the right place. Now, aside from that, it doesn't sound like your client is still entirely healthy. You've come a long way, don't get me wrong. Her period cycle is a lot healthier. There's some healing going on. So, in this instance, I would definitely look to work on an individual's health, and then weight loss comes afterwards. Like, if someone is genuinely in a bad place, like if this person is genuinely in that little food and not losing weight, there is a genuine metabolic issue, there is a fairly significant issue, and health needs to be your focus. Like, get her calories normal, get her eating really high foods, get her training, but not intently, get her stress really low, manage all areas of her lifestyle, and when all that stuff is literally bulletproof, then diet her.
I just think that, when you have a client like that and you see those statistics, and, I really, really think at 1,000 calories a day, and she said that she's struggling to get in the rest of her food, I'm sorry, I don't believe that. I don't. And that there's, unless there is a serious metabolic issue going on here, there is also binge eating or some form of secret eating going on. You can't get to that weight on just 1,000 calories without a serious metabolic condition or eating.
Yep.
It's that simple. It's black and white.
Yeah, 100, you don't get to 100 kilos without having the ability to eat some food. Like when I ballooned up to 16 stone when I left school, mate, I tell you, I could eat. Like, I was going into the mess hall at school, eating sausage sandwiches that had butter in it with a plate full of chips, and then like a pudding, and like I could eat 1,500 calories in a meal. That was why I was fat. Like, you don't get to that big without having the ability to put away some food. I'm sorry.
Yeah, if I was Lindsay, I would certainly ask her client. I would basically explain this to her client, and I am very direct with my clients, so perhaps Lindsay wants to take a little bit more of a softly approach. I would be very direct, and I would ask what's going on behind the scenes, and I would also ask, what does she want? What are her goals? What does she want? And she'll say things like, oh, well, I want to lose weight. Well, that's great. That's telling me what you don't want. You want to lose weight. I want to lose 10 kilos. So I don't want to be like this anymore. Well, great. That's what you don't want. But what do you want? So, really focusing on, this client could definitely do with some mindset work as well. She needs to be working with us, working on her psychology, working with a coach at the same time as working with Lindsay to work on her nutrition. This needs to be like a multidisciplinary thing. When you're 40 and you're over 100 kilos, there's a lot of stuff that needs to be worked out. And bear in mind, she's been dieting for 15 years. So when you look at reverse dieting, it takes equally as long to come out of it. Now, I hate to put that as a disappointment, and I'm not saying it's going to take 15 years to bring her out of it by any means, but 15 years of dieting means a fair slog of time coming out and becoming healthy the other end. I'm losing my voice.
We've obviously been talking for too long.
I am losing my voice. I've gone through a whole 1.5 litre bottle of Evian and I'm still croaky.
We have been chatting now between us, recording and non-recording for 2 hours.
Wow, okay. We can talk.
Yeah. Right, let's wrap up the show. Lindsay, there was a lot of different stuff there, and I don't want to sound like, I was beating you on that a little bit, but there's some stuff that to me that just doesn't add up. And I think when you look laterally at certain different things there, then there's an awful lot that can still be done, with the context of the weight training thing, the calorie thing, the health thing. There is a lot that can be done. You're definitely not at a loss there. But what you've been doing with her diet already sounds great. Keep going with it and be more critical and more probing with your approach.
Absolutely. Like, Lindsay's doing a great job so far. So this is on Lindsay, and what she's done to date is great. She just needs to sort of dig a little bit deeper now and really find out what's going on.
So that leaves us to wish you happy Christmas. We
Merry
are
Christmas.
letting this go live on Christmas Eve. Hope you all have an amazing time. I can imagine some of you will be listening to this in flipping February or something, and it won't mean anything to you. But for the people that are dedicated to the show and listen to it on the day of release, Merry Christmas. We hope you have an amazing time off. Get some rest in, enjoy some food, enjoy your friends and family, and we will see you in the new year. Well, there's a show that should go up on the 31st of December, because that is the following Thursday. But either way, we hope you've enjoyed today. There was some real poignant rants today. You must excuse a little bit of colourful language, but that's the way it is when we get a little bit fruity. If you want to find Rachel, she is the Athletic Fox online. If you want to find me, I am Ben Coomber. And hopefully there will be a guest on next week's show. I absolutely have no idea what's happening on next week's show. Don't hold me accountable. Anything can happen. I might just get my dog on here to chat for you for half an hour. Who knows? But have a great Christmas. And it's goodbye from me.
And goodbye from me. Merry Christmas.
Ciao, Bella.
Ciao.
Everyone, Ben Coomber Radio, episode 168. Me and Rachel Guy are back in the house, and we promise we're going to answer some of your questions today. We've just been having a little bit of reminiscence banter offline.